Good afternoon, all. Okay, better. Okay, can I have my slides? Good afternoon, everyone. In the next 1 hour or so, I'll try to dissect the topic before us and then see if we can discuss. I cannot guarantee that I can answer all the questions on your mind because some of them might be spiritual and I'm not a pastor. But the ones that are medical and in my area, I should be able to attempt to answer them. So what do we have before us today? Is it possible that they see the slide? The topic before us is male sexual dysfunction. It doesn't sound like what you are used to, but that is the overall umbrella for everything that has to do with men sexual challenge. So this umbrella is what I want to try. Since we have enough time, I want to try and run through it. And then anyone that concerns you or anyone you know somebody that it concerns, then we can discuss and talk in that line. Next slide. So recently, a pastor said that any home where the bed is not shaking, then there will be problem in the marriage. The marriage will shake. So it's important that the bed shake in the correct place at the right time and with the right people. So let me go. Usually for us, we start with the normal before we enter the abnormal. I'm going to be very graphic, so prepare your mind because I'm trying to hit the nail on the head the way it is without pampering it so that we can be free to discuss. Next slide. So we are talking about sexual dysfunction, but we cannot talk about dysfunction means abnormality, abnormal function, when you don't know the normal. So we need to know the normal. So I'm going to be very, as let me use the word the way they say it, as raw as possible because there's nothing to keep out of this. Can we mute everybody? What is sex? Because if you don't know what sex is, we cannot adequately talk about an abnormality in the sexual life. Sex refers to all acts that can sexually arouse a person. Everything combined, including with or without sexual intercourse. So you see two different things. Sex and sexual intercourse are different things. Not the way we know it, isn't it? What is sexual intercourse? That component of sex where a man inserts and thrusts the male penis into a female vagina, because that's what we know as Christians and what is permitted. I usually like to define it the way it is, the natural way that God permits, so that we can always identify and fight the abnormal. And the major purpose of sex are those two things, pleasure and reproduction, or both. At a time in the life of a man and a woman couple, they may be looking for reproduction. And once the era of reproduction is closed, they don't want it again. They close it, they move to pleasure alone. At other times, it's both. So it's important to establish this background before I move far. I've jumped my slide. Sexual life is one of the most important parts of marriage. In fact, it's one of the major objectives of marriage. Because if God has asked me to restrain myself From age 1, I struggled to get married at 28, at 30, at 32, at 34. And God said, I should not use my body anyhow because my body is his temple. Now that I'm married, he has opened the door. That's one of the main things, the reasons I have waited. And so if I don't enjoy this part of me that God imputed from childhood, then what is it all about? What is the essence? So in marriage, there must be good sex. And what is good sex? We are going to come into the physiology of sex. Because if you don't understand what it should be, then you may even be doing the wrong thing, even when you are married. You may be 5 years in marriage and doing the wrong thing. Very possible. The activity of sex is a period, is a moment, is an event of mutual trust and love. It's an intense period of emotion. It's a period of vulnerability. That thing that you don't want the world to see, that's why they call it private. You have willingly and confidently allow another person to see and even enjoy. So we are vulnerable usually to our partners, isn't it? So it takes a lot of love and trust to have sex with somebody. Each individual needs sex in his own peculiar way, male or female. The regularity varies for individual. Now a man can marry a woman and the woman says, for me, once in a week is okay. And for the man, he wants it every day. You know that there's a mismatch. That grouping and cross-match of that blood, there's problem inside. There's going to be reaction. So how do you balance this dangerous equation? Once a week, daily. For us as medical people, we recommend 3 to 4 times a week. Basically because of reproduction, not because of pleasure. So our recommendation is targeted towards a man and a woman trying to have a child. And if you maintain 3 to 4 times a week, it means every alternate day, isn't it? A week has 7 days. If you do 3 times a week, from Monday, it means you started Tuesday, Thursday, and then Saturday. If you started Monday, you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. That's 3 to 4 times a week, if you are looking for a child. But beyond children, if pleasure permits you, do it as many times and as convenient as it is for both of you. A happy and satisfying sexuality is based on mutual respect and effective communication. I've combined 2 things here that each of the couples work for each of the couple. For example, for a man, a respectful woman is enough to help him sexually stabilize, desire sex. The respect the wife brings to the table will love him to have sex. For a man, for a woman, a communicating husband will make her desire sex. So we look at different things in the process of having sex. Communication is important. Respect for one another is important. The challenge of respect has to do with how often do you want it, should I wait, who compromises to meet the needs of the other. We have to respect one another. It has to be respectful. And then for the woman, communication is key in the process of having sex. She wants you to talk. A regular and healthy lifestyle provides significant benefits. So let's quickly look at some of the scientifically proven benefits. Next slide, to your health when you have regular and healthy sex. The emotional part is usually for the men. It improves self-esteem. A man who is thoroughly and well satisfied sexually, that morning as he's leaving his house, he's living like a mighty man trying to conquer the world, and he will conquer because he's balanced, he's set, he's satisfied. It decreases mental challenges from depression to anxiety. Good and regular sex. And it increases intimacy. It increases intimacy because when a woman has satisfied the husband well, he's struggling to return home early because he wants to go and gist and have a nice time with his wife. He wants to tell her the challenges of the day. That's because they are close physically and psychologically. He has found a friend in her. It improves their friendship. What are the physiological? Physiology means functional benefits. More for the women, it helps the heart health, the health of your heart. Men or women, which group likes sex more? You say? Even you that say the women is heavy in your mouth. Our wiring are different. So the reason is simple, because for a man, sex is not far-fetched. 3 seconds is the distance between you and sex for a man. For a woman, the distance between she and sex may take minutes to hours. I'll explain in a short while from now. So good heart health. Why? Because when you are having sex, it's like running on the pitch. True of us. It's exercise. So that gives your heart regular. If you do it regularly, even if you are not exercising like Osimhen, you will have similar response. Similar training for your cardiovascular system. It can help reduce blood pressure. Why? It can help reduce blood pressure. Why? Because of the relaxing effect it has on the body. It also boosts the immune system. Your immunity will improve, especially when both of them are sincere and honest people, not transmitting sexually transmitted diseases or infection across. The secretion on the body of the woman has what we call immunoglobulin A. The secretion in her vagina is an anti-ballistic missile defense. Not Iran and US, the one within the body. It helps to fight germs. So when you keep it in action, it keeps production continuous and our immunity improves. More is produced. Now more for the man. It relieves stress. And that's why women must understand that a stressed man needs sex to achieve relief. If you want to help him as he's coming tensed, he has fought lions outside and wolves. As he's coming, you need to offer him both food, both types of food. And if you can give him this benefit of sex to relieve stress, then you can find all the other benefits because what a woman is looking for in sex is different from what a man is looking for. We'll get to all those details. It will improve sleep. When you have that feeling of satisfaction, when you finish exercise, what's the natural thing you do? You look forward to sleep and rest. It's the same thing. After all those, your heartbeat has gone to 100 and something and come down. Then that sleep will be sweet. So it improves sleep. And then for women, it makes you look younger. That's when you are married and you're having good, healthy, regular sex. The woman becomes more beautiful, younger, and begins to look like the man, the way they say. So I want to tell you the normal cycle of sex. A couple now, they are together, they want to have sex. What happens from beginning to the end is what we call sexual response cycle. If you get to understand what this normal is, then you will see where you are making mistakes. Before we go into the dysfunction. So I'm discussing the normal before I start talking the abnormal. What is the sexual response cycle described as? It is a sequence. Sequence means step after step after step, series of physical and emotional changes that occur as a person becomes sexually aroused and participates in sexually stimulating activities, including sexual intercourse. If we know how our body responds from one stage to another during sex, it will enhance our marriages. help understanding between the couples, and improve how we relate with one another. Help you understand your wife, help you understand your husband, and then we can pinpoint where the problem is. Because sometimes when you finish having sex, somebody is not satisfied. One party may not be satisfied. But when you know what the normal is and how it works, then you will know where you should improve, and then you see the results. So, assuming a married couple are together now, and the idea of sex comes into their heads, and they want to start, they will naturally go through 4 phases: excitement, plateau, orgasm, resolution. They come down as if nothing happened. So let's look at it, what it looks like graphically. Next slide. You can see how the thing is building. It's going to build as if something wants to burst. Excitement. So you are building like a graphical, mathematical graph. Excitement start going up. Then you plateau, a period of activity that bursts into the peak of activity, which is orgasm. And then it comes down. So let me explain each of these phases and what they mean and who benefits from what out of these 4 phases, so that you can give attention to each one as husband and wife. Next slide. Phase 1 is phase of excitement. That's what we call desire. A man desires his wife, or a woman desires her husband. This period is the most critical period for a woman, for the wife. The owner of this phase is the wife. And it can last from few minutes to several hours. What happens in this phase? Or what is the response in our body to this phase? What do you do essentially in this phase? Romance. It's the phase of romance. Caressing, kissing, fingering, do all what you can do within your capacity as husband and wife. So what do you notice? Your heart rate will increase. The normal heart rate, generally known, is 72 beats per minute. Usually doesn't go beyond 90 beats, meaning your heart should not pump blood more than 90 times in 1 minute. But when you begin, you may enter 102, 105, because something is happening. The activity that you are stimulating essentially is happening in your brain, because you need that perception. What I didn't tell you is that sex is has essentially 2 components: the physical and psychological component of sex. And that is why a man can have sex without a woman. And that's why Jesus said to them, he said, if you look unto a woman and desire her, you are as guilty as the man that. Why? Because what you are doing will take you through these 4 phases, and that is sex. So excitement, plateau, orgasm, and then that's why a man can masturbate and he has replicated what will happen in sex without a woman, isn't it? So a man can have sex without a woman. That's what I mean. Man can fantasize. Just by your psychological component, you can go through these 4 phases. But proper and healthy sex is when you do it with the right person, your wife, the right place, best right times, and you are able to explore the physiology, the normal functions that should be. So what will happen? Your heart rate will increase, your blood pressure will go up, your breathing will increase. You that breathe 16 to 20 times in 1 minute, you may go to 25. 26, signifying changes in your body. The next thing that picks up the response is your muscle. Muscle tension increases. There's a general increase in your muscle tension because activities involve contraction of the muscles. Now, different parts of the body begin to experience transformation. For the woman, if it's a white person, the white people, you will see the changes I'm describing here. But for us blacks, it's difficult to see any changes. We don't flush. Do we blush? Do you see a black man blushing? Don't blush because the skin is not transparent for you to see the blood supply. Blushing simply means blood supply to that area increases. And so their face becomes red. That's why they are blushing. So, the nipples, the vagina, the penis, a lot of changes begin to happen. Why? Because blood supply increases to that area of the body. That's simply what happens. For the women, the vaginal walls begin to swell, the breast becomes fuller, the nipples becomes erect, all in this phase of foreplay. Foreplay. This is the stage of foreplay. The secretion in the vagina begins to increase, begins to build up. And this is where many men make mistake. Once you skip this phase of foreplay, your wife cannot enjoy sex with you. So, but sex usually starts with excitement, desire, libido. Next phase. Now from here, intercourse may start from this phase. But at this phase, intercourse is fully in display. The plateau phase, arousal. Now take note of those words because we are going to use them in the dysfunction, the abnormalities. This period is brief because that's where mainly sexual intercourse happens. And for us, the period of time that we said is normal for a man to stay within his wife, when a man have penetrative sex with his wife, if you go below it, then we are worried that you have problem with early ejaculation. You should be able to stay minimum of 3 minutes, not African time, normal time, 3 minutes. 3 minutes when you penetrate. Whatever you are doing, you should be able to sustain it for 3 minutes. That is scientifically what we consider normal. But you cannot stay there forever. If it's going forever too, it's a problem. So, usually 25 minutes is too much for us too. We'll come to all those. So, at this period, the man has penetrated and the activity increases. Everything I mentioned there just increases. It's the same thing. Everything increases. Now, at this point, there are parts of the body of a woman that are highly innervated and sensitive. Husbands should take advantage of them. You will find out the best spot because your wife is your wife and it is individualized to you. But common generally, we know that the areas of the nipple and areola, the areola is a dark area around the nipple, are highly sensitive for a woman. The neck, behind the ears, the thighs, virtually every area of her body. But the most highly innervated part of her body that most people miss because they are not educated enough about it is the clitoris. The clitoris is an equivalent of the penis of the woman. Of course, it is not the penis, but it's a small rod-like structure just above the vagina. Highly sensitive. When a woman is well excited, enough blood supply goes to the clitoris, it becomes highly sensitive such that if a man can manipulate it adequately, he will give his wife adequate sensation and good sex. For your information, that thing you are doing as sexual intercourse doesn't satisfy a woman. It's good that you know now that what satisfies a woman is adequate foreplay. If you give a woman adequate foreplay between 10 to 20, 30 minutes before you have sexual intercourse, you have finished your job. If you like, stay only 3 minutes. She'll be satisfied. So, all these changes happens, and then we move to the final phase. Because there's already sexual intercourse, while sexual intercourse is going on, the muscle tension in a man's body, all over the body, increases. But most importantly, the one in the pelvic region, the one below your penis, and in your perineal region. Perineal region is the area of the pelvis. And then even you'll be wondering, why is my muscle contracting without my consent? By that time, we have entered autonomic function. Autonomic means something that is automatic. Your muscle take over and they work automatically without your consent. And we move to the third phase. Third phase is the peak of sexual enjoyment. My slide, which is defined as orgasm. It will shock you that many people, couples, especially women, have not experienced orgasm in several years of marriage. Why? Because the man is not doing the job correctly, so he never gets her to orgasm. And you know women, they are very reserved. In their mind, they'll just say, let him do what he's doing and go. Why? Because there's no communication. She doesn't want him to feel bad. They say, this thing you have done now. The ones that are even terrible will say, what have you done now? What is it? What is this thing now that you have done? And then you have killed the man's ego. Even the next round will not even come again. Because the man is deflated. So they want to protect us most times. So they will not say harsh things. But they just keep quiet. So they are even doing wrong by not tabling the thing. If you table it, then the two of you will discuss. And when you are discussing, what are you supposed to discuss? She's supposed to tell you how and where she wants it. Because everybody's body is unique. And then while sex is going on, the woman is supposed to guide the man. That point where she's feeling it most, or she requires or needs it most, put his hand there, let him continue. Really unfortunate. African setting, just do and go. Some even off light, see nothing. On the light next time, try and see what you are working with. So orgasm is the maximum, is the climax of sexual response. Very short, maybe 3 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, depending on people. That's the time they say people convulse. It's not convulsion, it's just spasm, the muscles of the body and everything. So men are likely to have orgasm than female. And usually for men, orgasm come with ejaculation. People say release sperm. It's not sperm, it's called semen. Semen has 3 components. The prostate releases some fluid, the seminal vesicles release fluid, and then the testis releases spermatozoa. Those are the components of semen. So it's semen, not sperm. The next time say semen, they will say what you mean. Say semen, that's the correct thing. So at this point, this is where, not to scare you, this is the point where men die. Those that have underlying problems. Because the pressure in your blood, or in your blood vessels, your heart rate, everything skyrockets. At that point, a normal heart rate of 72 can reach 135. The heart is struggling to pump. If you are hypertensive and you're not taking your drugs well, maybe not a problem, but you now go and take an aphrodisiac. You know what they call aphrodisiac? Drugs that help erection. Now, most of those drugs, they have side effects on the blood pressure. So you remember your blood pressure is high, uncontrolled. You have taken something that will push it further high. So you have double heat on your blood pressure. At that point, the man can have a stroke, and the blood vessels in the brain will burst. And then he falls over the woman. Do you think the woman will call for help? Help! Do you think he'll call for help? Why won't she call for help? They are all naked. She has to take care of her nakedness first. So she puts him by the side, wear clothes, try to patch him around before she calls for help. That's why they die. They never survive. So that you understand why most men die when they collapse on a woman. Otherwise, if he's able to get help, maybe. So that is a peak of sexual activity, orgasm. Sudden, forceful release of sexual tension and involuntary contraction of the muscles. It looks like convulsion, but that's the enjoyment, the peak of the enjoyment. In women, it happens, but like I said, most women, our men don't happen to carry our women to that point. Maybe from tonight, our men are going to take our women. Say amen. They did not agree with me, no problem. So, very rare in women, Because the women, there's no communication. If there's communication, that thing you think is what she wants you to do. It's not what it's not what she's looking for. Where she wants you to put your energy is the foreplay. But you think it's by sexual intercourse, by muzzle. I'll teach this woman a lesson. She's not benefiting anything from it. That's the truth. Where she's benefiting from, you have cut it short. That's how it is. Because that's how God wired us. So let's try it. After this happens, then resolution is like returning back to ground state. Here, your breathing returns to normal, your breath, your heart rate, your blood pressure. All of us, our blood pressure goes up during orgasm. Common with men at the point of ejaculation, like I said. Now, once you return to normal, stable state, there's a period of, a refractory period we call it, between round 1 and round 2, for those that are multiple rounders. The timing between round 1 and round 2 varies for different people. For some men, 5 minutes they are ready. For some men, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But as age is coming, you discover that the period in between becomes longer. And then sometimes, if I will postpone round 2 to another date, all are natural processes, isn't it? Natural. But let me explain something about the sexual circle for man and women, a man and a woman. You need to know that the graph of a man is different from the graph of a woman, because what we just explained now is like a graph. So assuming we have a graph plotted, a man has his graph like this. In Mars, you see sharp graph go up and what? Come down. That's why a man can be telling his wife, say, oh yeah now, oh yeah, and the woman is wondering, oh yeah now, is this in food? That's why they are saying all kinds of things to you. Because you are always ready as a man. You don't need preparation. And sex, 2 minutes, we are done. You have, because once you ejaculate, you have reached your orgasm and you have come down. You are done. But for a woman, she needs to be built. That's why all those theory of preparing your woman during the day, saying sweet things to her, they are correct based on their body function, based on their hormones. So she needs to be built slowly, so her graph is steep like this. Meanwhile, you see your own here, pam. But while you are down, what is she still doing? She's still building. Her graph is still going up. And that's why they get angry when you do that one round and you start snoring beside them. You are creating problem. You took her on a journey. You have gone up, you have come down. You are sleeping, imagine. That's why this man is sleeping. When he left me up there in the mountain, I'm still struggling. Now you have initiated something. The changes you started in her are in fact building. They are not coming down, they are building. So a woman can be in that mood for the next 2-3 hours. But 5 minutes you are done and you are sleeping unknowingly. So you need to understand how her body works with your body. And that's why if you take the first 30 minutes or less and concentrate on foreplay to meet that, her satisfy that, because that thing, it takes time for her. She takes time to build. Some men will just go, yeah, open now, open. Boom, they are done and they are going. Anything you do on our body starts a graph, starts something. And that's why sometimes they don't want you to start. And you have argument whether you should do or you should not do. But the other problem is that she's not communicating how she feels to you. So that's why you keep clashing, because you have a misunderstanding. Because you think that how you are feeling is how she's feeling. No, she's not feeling the way you are feeling. Her system is completely different from yours. So as a man, if you can give attention to foreplay, just tell yourself that this one is not my part. I know that your body is very sensitive. A man's body is very sensitive. If you touch it, for some people, before you say jack, everything has scattered and come down. But it requires training. Training. And that's why some people tell you that if I don't, somebody said practice makes perfect. So before I get married, I need to practice and get perfect for my wife. With who? With somebody else? So whether both of you are novice, JJC, is best for you. So that you learn together and then you overcome together. So the man needs to learn that the woman requires time. So your body will be asking, oh yeah, going, and no, you tell your body, because you must discipline it. I like the place where Paul said, I discipline my body. I put my body under subjection. So I borrow from that. As much as you want to make that penetration and get it done, no. You tell yourself, this is for my wife. I want to give it to her. So you go for all the romantic processes, the kissing, the, what do you call it again? The caressing, the touching, the that, manipulate all the sensitive area. You will see all the happiness and all the joy on her face. Take your time. If you hit the right note and the right point comes, she's the one that will move you to phase 2. True or false? Yeah, you have more experience, so you know that. You know what I'm saying. So, next slide. Next slide. What is sexual dysfunction? What is this abnormality we are talking about? So you see why I needed to go through the normal, because my definition has what I have just discussed.